rationale for your conclusion.
And then you would get that, you would review it, and then John.
If that's acceptable,
Yeah.
right, we'll give you a proposed resolution that you can consider, and if it's acceptable, then you'll be free to adopt that.
Somehow the Skodak board with that Amazon distribution center came up with a neg deck.
Okay.
Well, I don't know anything about that project, but,
Maybe where it was, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
There are instances, and actually DEC does encourage, to some extent, for there to be a dialogue about projects, and if an applicant volunteers to make changes to the plan that result in mitigation of the potential impacts to the maximum extent practicable, which is the standard under seeker, then it's possible to do that. That is discussed. Not that particular project, but, which I don't know anything about, but that is discussed.
Now they're defending themselves.
Well,
I think we've concluded the,
yeah, we'll draft something and it'll be circulated to the board as a proposal before your next meeting. The other thing that I wanted to bring up for you to consider is figuring out what position you want to take on applications that are in the pipeline at the time your zoning law becomes effective. And generally speaking, the rule is that when a new law gets passed, it's applicable to everybody that hasn't reached the point of having a vested right in a particular level under the old law. Communities have taken different approaches to where they want to draw the line for projects that are in the pipeline to be able to continue through under your previous zoning law. So sometimes communities say, okay, if the application has been accepted as complete, we'll let them go, we'll let that application go forward, by the board that's reviewing it, we'll let the application go forward under the old law. Other communities pick a different line, like preliminary site plan approval. If that's been given, then you just have to finish out the conditions. I was going to suggest that you ask Aaron Reese to give you an inventory of what applications have been accepted as complete and are currently pending before both the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Board. I don't know everything that's going on in front of those boards, but I think the State Police Barracks is probably the most significant application that's in front of the boards. And I remind you that under state law, the state actually is exempt from having to comply with local land use regulation. The state has a policy, however, of voluntarily complying with local land use regulation in most of the cases where it's able to do that, and the state police are proceeding in that manner with regard to the barracks application. So they are applying to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special use permit and to the Planning Board for approval of a subdivision and a site plan.
we'll get that to you next week.
So
Yeah, and get it to you have to get it to your set. Aaron should tell you what's in the pipeline in terms of applications that have been accepted as complete, meaning the reviewing board has decided that there's enough information in front of them to go forward with the review, and to also tell you what approvals are being sought for each application.
So should we do that as a date, say, as of June 1st?
Well, I don't know what the,
Second Tuesday is the planning board
yeah,
meeting.
CBA meets tomorrow.
yeah, I mean, there are cutoff, you'd have to, why don't you talk to Aaron to see what date makes sense, because
We have like 10 days to put it.
yeah, there are submission deadlines for each of those boards. And the applications that are in, that have been accepted for possible review, but each board takes a look at the first meeting where it goes up. Each board takes a look at the application to make sure that everything is there that's needed for the application to be complete to move forward.
It rarely
For
is.
instance, and at the ZBA level, there's often a need to, a lot of applicants don't comply with the checklist that's on the town's website, but anyway. So you have to look at Aaron and see what kind of line makes sense.
The
in
effective
terms of
date, now
time.
here says the effective date of the local law is the date that is filed with the state. So
Yes,
the town board votes to accept the local law on whatever date. I assume it takes 24 hours to file with the state?
it takes a little bit longer than that, yeah.
So
To get it up to the Secretary of State's office.
So it's delivered to the state's office, it's entered, as soon as it's stamped there, is it, that's the
Yes,
date?
there's a certificate, file.
So it's really just 100 days? Is
Yes,
the
that's right.
physical transfer,
right.
so.
So is their decision memorialized in the resolution or in the law itself when how is it explained?
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest that we probably put something at the end of the law.
On pipeline,
Yes,
and that may be moved, because I don't think anything's in front of the ZBA right now.
state police. I don't know if it was accepted as complete because their last meeting was the same day as the public hearing, so I didn't go to the ZBA meeting. And, variance applications, I don't know how much the setbacks and things that would have been changed under the new zoning law, but anyway, the only other things that are in front of the zoning board of appeals are area variances.
I don't think the setbacks weren't changed.
Maybe in the hamlets, I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah, didn't do an awful lot with that.
Okay, so those applications would be unaffected. That's why we have to sort of take a look at
The
what.
use variances,
Yeah, but there are no use variance application, and the state standard for use variances will be unchanged by the zoning law.
Okay, we'll get that out to everybody next week.
Okay.
Good. Any other items for Buzz Meeting?
That's it.
Okay. All right, then, I just want to move on to two resolutions.
thank you.
As you,
Very, very painless.
Good.
Well, I will say that a lot of work, part of the reason that you're able to make a good, competent decision on these issues is because of the amount of work that went into thinking about these issues before we got to this point. So, we've known, and the committees and the board's known for a long time that this was going to be a component of the review, and you're not making your land use policy decisions based on this review, but you're also mindful of the fact that this review is going to take place, and the preparations were put in place as time's gone along to be prepared for it. So, anyway, it wasn't an accident, is what I'm trying to say.
okay, we've got just a couple of resolutions, and what I'd like is a motion to rescind Resolution 123-19, which had to do with host compliance, and Sal had specified in 123 that the agreement would be subject to the enactment of the local law, which we chose to strike because the rationale behind that was that we wanted to get the contract in place with host compliance so that the training could begin with the code enforcement officers prior to the enactment of the law. And in reviewing the contract with host compliance, Sal prepared Resolution 126-19, which says that he is satisfied with the agreement insofar as there is a 6-month trial period and a refund available. So if I can have a motion to rescind Resolution 123-19,
Motion.
and a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. And this is Resolution 126-19, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Chatham has proposed the enactment of Local Law Number 2, which among other things regulates short-term rentals of property in the town under certain conditions. And whereas Host Compliance LLC has agreed to provide professional assistance in monitoring short-term rentals. And whereas Host Compliance LLC permits a full refund under the 6-month trial period under its proposed agreement with the town, now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the proposed agreement on behalf of the town of Chatham with Host Compliance LLC for use of its software and all other services necessary for the town's productive use of such software as described in the agreement.
Any of this is drafted by Sal.
A motion and a second?
So. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the last resolution has to do with, and I think I sent this out to everyone earlier, Rosado Cleaning Services. Mr. Rosado is relocating to Florida because of health problems, and one of the employees who's worked for him is taking over his account. So this is Resolution 125-2019, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Chatham has contracted with Roy Rosado of Rosado Cleaning Services for janitorial services as an independent contractor, whereas Roy Rosado is leaving the area due to health problems and has turned over his clients to one of his employees, Zachary Whiteman Cleaning Services, 49 Whitings Pond Road, Canaan, New York. And now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Chatham hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute a janitorial agreement with Zachary Whiteman Cleaning Services for 2019 to 2020 under the terms contained in Exhibit A for cleaning of the Town Hall and the Tracy Memorial Building. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, any other business to come before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can there be public comment?
So all that, I'm just curious, you have a huge parking lot here, huge enough for Chatham, and it's full.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Good point.
Second?
So you guys just established a spying against our community and you're not even going to discuss it with us?
Aye.
That's pretty ridiculous.
You're going to encourage us to
When was this
inform
first
upon our
discussed, by the way? When
neighbors?
did you guys first entertain this whole
Excuse me.
service? Yes,
This is a
ma'am.
public meeting.
Yeah, we're asking questions in the public meeting.
Okay.
Continue.
There was no public comment in the agenda.
Well, we know.
Why not?
Why not?
This is huge.
Meeting.
Well, so public comment means it's not a working meeting. The last thing you need is input from the public. I understand.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You guys should be ashamed of yourselves.
Everybody should remember that.
Absolutely